Russian President Vladimir Putin visited the secretive city of Sarov on August 22nd, a day after US President Donald Trump publicly argued that Ukraine cannot win its war without the ability to strike inside Russia. Sarov, located in the Nizhny Novgorod region, is home to the Russian Federal Nuclear Center, also known as the All-Russian Scientific Research Institute of Experimental Physics, VNWEF. Once known as Artemis 16, the city played a central role in the Soviet Union's nuclear weapons program and remains closed to outsiders. Access is heavily restricted, with the area surrounded by fences and guarded by the military. According to reporting from the Kyiv Independent, Putin's visit included meetings with nuclear industry employees, a workforce training exhibition, and a flower-laying ceremony at a monument honoring the chief designer of the USSR's first atomic bomb. He was accompanied by top officials, including General Valery Gerasimov, Deputy Prime Minister Denis Manturov, Rosatom Chief Alexei Lykachev, and Nizhny Novgorod Governor Gleb Nikitin. Speaking at an event following his visit to a nuclear research center, the Russian president said he was sure Trump's leadership qualities would help in restoring relations from recent lows.
As for our relations with the United States, they are at an extremely low level since World War II, as I have mentioned many times. Since President Donald Trump came into office, I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We recently had a very good, substantive and frank meeting in Alaska. Contacts continue at the level of our ministries, agencies, and companies. I very much count on that the first steps taken are only the beginning towards the full-scale restoration of our relations. This does not depend on us. It primarily depends on our Western partners in the broad sense of the word, because the United States is also bound by certain obligations through various associations, including the North Atlantic Bloc. Therefore, the next steps depend on the leadership of the United States. However, I am confident that the leadership qualities of the current President Trump are a good guarantee that relations will recover. I hope the pace of our joint work at this platform will be maintained.
Putin's visit came on Russian Flag Day, a national holiday which is often used to promote patriotic messaging. However, the timing also carried geopolitical weight. Just one day earlier, on August 21st, Trump posted on his social media platform, Truth Social.
It is very hard, if not impossible, to win a war without attacking an invader's country. It's like a great team in sports that has a fantastic defense, but is not allowed to play offense. There is no chance of winning. It is like that with Ukraine and Russia.
Trump then went on to criticize his predecessor Joe Biden for restricting Ukraine to defensive operations, and hinted that under his leadership, Washington might allow Kyiv to strike targets inside Russia.
Crooked and grossly incompetent, Joe Biden would not let Ukraine fight back, only defend. How did that work out? Regardless, this is a war that would have never happened if I were president. Zero chance. Interesting times ahead. President Donald J. Trump.
As reported by Medusa, the symbolism of Putin's visit was difficult to ignore. By returning to the birthplace of the Soviet nuclear program just hours after Trump's remarks, the Kremlin appeared to be sending a pointed message, one underscoring Russia's enduring nuclear capability at a moment of heightened rhetoric from both Moscow and Washington. The escalation followed the August 15th summit between Trump and Putin in Anchorage, Alaska, their first in-person meeting since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Afterward, Trump described the talks as productive and claimed that Moscow had agreed to 2 future meetings between Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. But within days, the Kremlin walked back any suggestion of progress. On August 22nd, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov confirmed that no meeting between Putin and Zelensky was planned. Russia's conditions for peace, including Ukrainian recognition of occupied territories, remain unchanged.
President Putin said clearly that he is ready to meet, provided this meeting is really going to have an agenda, presidential agenda. There is no meeting planned, and I am not challenging this. Putin is ready to meet with Zelensky when the agenda would be ready for a summit. And this agenda is not ready at all.
Lavrov also stated that the progress remained stalled due to a lack of a concrete agenda and unwillingness from the Ukrainian side to engage seriously on key issues.
President Trump suggested after Anchorage several points which we share, and on some of them we agreed to show some flexibility when President Trump brought those issues to the meeting in Washington. With Zelensky present together with his European sponsors, he clearly indicated it was very clear to everybody that there are several principles which Washington believes must be accepted, including no NATO membership, including the discussion of territorial issues, and Zelensky said no to everything. He even said no to, as I said, to canceling legislation prohibiting the Russian language. How can we meet with a person who is pretending to be a leader?
Meanwhile, on August 21st, another symbolic gesture accompanied Trump's remarks. A photo of him wagging his finger at Putin, paired with a Cold War-era image of Richard Nixon doing the same to Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev, was posted online. And minutes later, he hinted that the US could let Ukraine fight back to prevent a Russian victory. Despite the optics of recent diplomatic activity, Russia has continued its large-scale missile attacks across Ukraine and has shown no willingness to pause hostilities during negotiations. Whether Putin's visit to Sarov was pre-scheduled or intended as a direct response to Trump's comments, the message was clear. Russia's nuclear legacy remains central to its strategic posture. And amid growing tensions and shifting rhetoric, the potential for miscalculation remains a serious concern.